Hello. Today I'm going to create a highly sustainable mini raised bed vegetable plot. And the reason it's highly sustainable is because it's made from everything reused. For example, the raised beds are going to be made out of these homemade giant planters which I created for my large red bananas last year. I don't need them this year for the red bananas because the red bananas are going in the ground for a change. So I'm going to get my saw to them, cut them in half. I've got two, so out of the two I will make 4 small miniature raised beds, and I'll position them in a nice symmetrical square here with a gap between so I can get access. And that's Simba, my dog, making a nuisance of himself as usual because there's a passerby on the lane. We'll ignore him for now. Then I'm going to import some soil from another part of the garden, so I'm not buying compost. Some of the seeds which can be planted direct at this time of year will be planted directly into the miniature raised beds, but others which cannot be planted directly and need some protection are going to be planted into my homemade cold frame. You can see videos on constructing the large planters and making the cold frame. And another reason why it's highly sustainable is because I'm not even going to buy seed trays. I'm going to create my own seed trays out of all these things which I got from the recycling bin. Plastic containers, tins, milk bottles and other little bits of plastic. So again, it's not going to be single-use plastic this time because I'm going to plant seeds in it, and these will be used inside the cold frame. And there's yet another reason why this is highly sustainable, because some of the seeds which need deep roots are going to be planted into these bulk bag hügelkultur raised beds, and I created these only last week. Again, you can see a video on these on my channel. So these are hügelkultur bulk bag raised beds, and what hügelkultur means basically is there's a load of garden waste at the bottom, then there's a layer of old turfs, and on top there's topsoil which you plant into. The idea is that the bottom is slow release, so it's garden waste like logs and other green material and grass cuttings, and all that breaks down and the plants get the roots into it, and it creates slow release plant food. So as you can see, there's so much about my little veg plot which is highly sustainable. And the first thing I need to do is get to work with my saw and cut these in half. And I will now tidy these away again. Clearly these need a good wash before I start using them to plant seeds into. So the next stop for these will be in the kitchen sink, and I'll probably reuse the old dishwater to give these a good clean and then rinse them off with the hose pipe. The story behind the wood I used to create these large planters is in itself quite interesting. I do some voiceover work, and in my previous house I had a voiceover booth, and it was created using stud walls and soundproofing, and I cladded it on the outside using this wood, which was an extra element of sound protection. And when I deconstructed the sound booth to move house, I used the wood to make these large planters. So again, it's wood which has been reused. So again, another highly sustainable element. I like that sustainability element to gardening. So let's see if I can get the saw in and start sawing these. Nearly sawed in the wrong place then. Just going in between the 2 middle planks with a saw. There are 4 corners, all supported by 4 battens, so clearly I'm going to need to make 4 cuts on each planter. I'm hampered somewhat by the fact that a lot of my tools are blunt, unfortunately, I fell into the habit of not respecting my tools, and now I'm paying the price by having to put twice the effort into making a cut. I'm going to find another saw which I'm hoping might be slightly sharper than this one. And hey presto, I have 4 mini raised beds. I need to fill them up with soil. Before I fill them up with soil, I'm going to lay them on a piece of weed fabric. And the reason I'm going to lay them on weed fabric is because one day I might want to move them. And I think if I put weed fabric underneath them, it'll allow drainage through into this gravel, but it'll stop the soil from getting into the gravel. It'll make it easier to move in the future. So I will be putting them on a bed of weed fabric, each one of these 4. Another thing I've just realised, every day is a school day. I have a piece of polyurethane sheet here, similar to the one I've used on top of the coal frame. So I've automatically got a mini greenhouse. So if we have a cold night, or if I want a little bit of extra heat or bring things on a bit quicker, I can put that on top of there. It would need weighing down with a few bricks, but that's never a problem. So I'll put weed fabric under each of these beds, then I'll go and import the soil. You'll see me do that in fast forwards. The next video I do will be planting the seeds. I will put shallow rooted seeds into these beds, tender seeds into seed trays in the cold frame and possibly underneath this polyurethane sheet, and things with the need for slightly deeper roots, like carrots which go down into the soil, can go into my hügelkultur raised beds. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to this. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've ever done a veg plot. I'm looking forward to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate, I'm going to tot up everything I produce on this. I'm going to get a price from the supermarket and see what the value of everything I produce comes out at. Please do like the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. And don't forget to hit the notifications bell so that you find out about the next video. I will post a link to the seed sowing video just above this one, somewhere around here. And I'll see you soon.